went down, knocked down by Jordan, and Mahorn took Jordan down, and now the Bulls, of course, retaliate. We got a fist fight now, and all the folks on both teams are involved.
The thing that did surprise me was sitting on the bench, and I had a folder in my hands, and suddenly Johnny Bach was on top of Mahorn. And I think, Doug went from inactive to active at that time. Now, when he gets active, forget it. Mahorn shrugged him off like a dog gets shrugged off by a bear. And suddenly Mahorn was standing in front of me, and I thought I had him stopped. And Doug attacks him from the side for the second go-around. But I think it was a unifier. The fight was a unifier because I think the spunk that Doug showed is always something that players admire in a coach.
Aaron Scott and Karl Malone having some words, and then there's a little physical action as well. Malone pushing Scott. Scott doesn't like it, and he pushes as well. Both men got technical fouls.
Meantime, a bizarre incident in Dallas where Mavericks coach Don Nelson took after Utah Jazz star Karl Malone. Nelson had been ejected for arguing a call and then turned his anger on Malone. As you saw, the two had to be separated, and Nelson had to be escorted from the arena, sparing him from seeing another frustrating loss for his lowly Mavericks.
Coach, of course, Don Nelson didn't like the call in the fourth quarter, and he told the referee all about it. Needless to say, Nelly would not see the end of this one, and he missed a good finish by the Mavs. Fourth quarter
continued their best start in franchise history with another win on Monday night over the Portland Trail Blazers. Michael Finley was knocked to the ground there, no foul called, so Coach Don Nelson rushes on and draws the technical.
Tempers flared in Memphis where the Grizzlies took on Utah. Andrei Kirilenko with a drive. Was there a foul? Well, Jerry Sloan thinks so, and he tells the refs. Gets one technical, he's not content with that, gets a second one, and yes, you know what that means, he's tossed. Shoving match, a technical foul is called on Butler, and Heat coach Pat Riley expresses his opinion on that call. Artest then gets in Riley's face, and the two get into it. Curiously, no technicals were given to the Pacer player. Artest at it again. He pushes Butler out of bounds, gets a flagrant foul there. Later in the fourth, Artest scores and gets fouled, and he walks to the Miami bench, flexing his muscles deliberately, trying to get them upset. Artest with a technical foul now after this incident. He would shoot his free throw after calming down, but after that, he gives two fingers to the Miami crowd. Totally unnecessary behavior by Artest. The league will have something to say about that.
Pacers bad boy Ron Artest is getting all riled up.
I always go right to the limit. Sometimes beyond.
Players broke the law of the court, the one that says no bumping the referees, please. Vernon Maxwell was docked $7,500 and suspended one game without pay for doing the bump with official Jack Nyes and throwing a piece of tape at the ref. Mad Max will miss Tuesday's game against Minnesota. Elsewhere, Nets assistant coach Tom Newell was fined $2,000 and suspended one game without pay for doing the same dance with referee Steve Javy.
Jazz and Kings start the show. C-Webb hoping to get Sacto back in the winning column after two straight losses. First quarter, Jerry Sloan points to the floor where he feels Doug Christie has stepped out of bounds. A foul called on the Christie drive, and then, well, we have dogs and cats living together. Sloan pushes Courtney Kirkland. He has to be restrained, and see you later. Jerry Sloan, just like that, ejected from the game. Goodbye. Boy, it looked like a quick temper there. Stockton has scorched Sloan to the tunnel, and he's still talking to Kirkland on the way out. My goodness, Jerry hot under the collar.
Something obviously was exchanged, some verbal exchange between the official himself, and he crossed the line. Can't do it. You see here, looking back to when he did it the first time in 1993, that's a little love tap in the chest. It's going to cost him, and this is going to cost him. When the league takes a look at what he did tonight in this ball game, he is definitely going to feel the wrath of a suspension and a pretty hefty fine for what he did. You can't touch the officials.
Tough might be an understatement. Wins, and a possible disaster turned
by Isaiah. Right side, he'll go right to left. His pass gets away. Here's a fight as Rodman wants to go after Stockton. And Stockton didn't do anything on the play, but Rodman reacted quickly. Jerry Sloan, the Jazz coach, out there as quick as anybody. And they break it up. Yeah. Rodman went down, and he really turned on Stockton. Here's the play. And down he went, and then he turns around and goes after Stockton. Stockton got to his feet quickly.
Yeah, that's Jerry Sloan now is letting Dennis Rodman know.
He said, you want a piece of somebody, get me.
That's right. You know, it's funny how it's always the same people on this team that are into something. We'll see what happens and what the call ends up on the court. Now, I'm sure they'll probably call a technical foul here on the Jazz.
Jerry Sloan really went after he went right after Rodman. Rodman says, okay, back to Jerry right there looking at him. He says, okay, cool down, I'll cool down. So the referees talk it over, and Rodman heads back to the Detroit bench. Here it was again. Now Stockton right here held it. He trips up Rodman. Down goes Rodman, who thought Stockton had hurt him or did that intentionally, I believe. And then he turns right back on Stockton. Now we don't have it. He turned back on him quickly.
With his leg and his arm there.
Stop. And then Jerry Sloan leaped up off the bench, and he was moving quicker than he ever did when he played. Going down here. Sloan now talking to the referees here.
The call is a personal foul on John Stockton, and then a double.
Jazz are in a penalty. Rodman makes the free throw and points at Jerry Sloan. He points down court at Jerry Sloan.
And a technical foul is called on Dennis Rodman for taunting Jerry
here,
Sloan.
Brendan Surr's out of the game. The assistant coach is kicked out. He's out of the game. I love it. And this is unusual.
Typical Piston basketball.
They give him a technical for making him. Boy, oh boy, the bad boys are at it again here in Detroit.
That's the bad boys. They have a banner hanging in this arena. It says Bad Boys 1988-89. An image I thought they wanted to get away from, but it's still there.
Now Chuck Daly has to pull Brendan Surr away, and he heads back to the bench. And the referee's trying again to get peace restored. Now, a moment ago, Dennis Rodman at the free throw line makes the free throw. Now he turns and looks at Jerry Sloan and gives him the old pump. And Sloan throws him a kiss right back. And they call it technical on Rodman.
The Jazz and Spurs met in the first round in 1994. A contentious and physical series that featured plenty of altercations. John Stockton and David Robinson got into it in Game 1. Jerry Sloan was ejected.
Now Sloan is going to get a tee and be ejected. He's out of here.
Talk about your injection and what happened down there tonight.
I just got kicked out. Said something I guess wrong.
And Ben Gordon, 19 points. You know, the Bulls bench outscored the Pistons bench 53-8. Bulls win, but after Larry Brown wasn't happy with the way referee Anthony Jordan treated him during the game. And definitely had something to say to Jordan. What up?
No, I just meant the guy wouldn't talk to me during the game. I can't understand. I wasn't discourteous or anything. I might have been at the end, though. And I'm sure I'll hear about that.
Refs rule, there was a foul, so the game isn't over. Teams come back onto the court. Here's George, fresh off that suspension.
And he wants to know the reason for review.
Oh, he loves referees. Fans, well, they're confused. That's a great shot of a confused fan. The Nuggets win 101.
Underneath the basket, and no foul is called. Tim Floyd expressing his displeasure onto the court with the ball. That is usually a technical. As you can see, Floyd had a point. He got himself ejected. It didn't help the Bulls as they get pounded. 105.
Hey, watch top of your screen. Issel, out of control. Charges. The ref. Gene Littles takes over. I hope you can't read that. We can't even show that on TV, reading the lips there. Second half, Nigel Knight with the quarter. But the Spurs make a run. Victor Alexander fouls David Robinson. Nelly doesn't like the call. He gets his second tee. He's ejected. There were 6 tees. We help you with the visual. 6 tees in the first half. Second half, delayed, leaking roof, the worst kind of roof. And then Dale Ellis, the launch. John Lucas dancing, moving, grooving. Spurs by 1 after 3. Less than 2.
14 in the first half. His coach, Alan Bristol, the early shower.
If it is their decision to release me, then make that choice. If it's to be as a contributing member of this team, then make that choice.
Bernard King demanded to play, and play now. After 16 months in rehabilitation on his right knee, King's comments caught Bullets management surprised and angry, given his previous isolationist attitude.
Bernard came with an attitude that he was ready to play to his standards and was impatient and did not want to wait for Wes's assessment.
I think Bernard came in with the wrong attitude, demanding things, and when you've been gone a year and a half, I don't think you got the right to come back and demand things.
He is not going to dictate. I am going to dictate to the coach, and the coach is going to dictate to the team.
This king-size power play is all about one thing. King is in the last year of his contract, and at 36 years old, he may not be the Bernard that scored over 50 points on back-to-back nights, but King still feels he can play. But he needs a chance to prove it and stay in the league after this season.
I think in all frankness and honesty, Bernard is at the point in his career where he wants to either play for a contending team or he wants to have an opportunity to show the rest of the league what he can do. And if he can do that here in Washington, I think that he would enjoy that. But if he can't do that here in Washington, I think he wants to go elsewhere.
It's not that simple. Trading King would be difficult with a $2.5 million price tag. The Bullets can release King, but would lose a valuable $2.5 million salary slot for next season. If Washington keeps King and he remains with the team the rest of the season, they keep the slot.
I think it's an albatross for trading because of the cap numbers.
There are many skeptics about King's attempted comeback, understandably so. But King has beaten the odds before. In 1981, he recovered from a drug problem to become the NBA's Comeback Player of the Year. And in 1988, after missing 2 seasons with a major knee injury, he returned again. But would a third comeback stunt the team's growth?
I don't know that if Bernard leaves that the Bullets win. I think Bernard could be very helpful to a lot of the young guys on this team. He could help Tom Gugliotta, he could help Don McClain, he could help Harvey Grant. And if he were to leave, I think the Bullets would miss him.
Unseld refused to talk about the controversy, saying the less rhetoric, the better. That may leave the door open for yet another Bernard King comeback.
He's welcome back in my mind. I think he's welcome back in everybody's mind.
Our attempts to reach King through the team and through his agent were unsuccessful. One Bullet player told me, though, it's going to be hard to forget what he said and what he did. And just to set the record straight on that physical altercation between King and Unseld, I'm told that King was the one that did a lot of backpedaling.
Well, the Bullets said today again the only reason they let Bernard King go yesterday was age. King was 36 and had been out 16 months rehabbing his knee. He had remained removed from the team, so when he showed up for practice New Year's Day, the Bullets were stunned. King harshly criticized the club then for not deciding on what to do with him, and then got into a shoving and shouting match with coach Wes Unseld. Bad idea. Who was asked today if that confrontation had anything to do with letting Bernard go.
We're dealing with very highly emotional and rightly so egotistical individuals, including myself. So those things are expected. There were no grudges at all held because of some of the things that are said and done. This happens every day in practice. Guys fight out here on the court and go out to lunch right after. So nothing was held personally.
He had not played in a year and a half, so it's not like he would come in there and then drastically things would change.
Well, some team members were surprised by the action, but admit the atmosphere is less tense without King. King says his knee's fine and he's free to sign with any team that's interested, but he really seemed to alienate himself, just working out alone, never reporting in for all those months. But he was such a plus for so many years for the Bullets.
And you got to think that there's somebody out there who thinks that ego and that emotion can be turned into a positive.
They could harness that into, maybe the final piece to a title. There always seems to be something.
Or more, and that's based on defense generally. When you're down 10, you got to be able to make stops. And Cleveland probably tries for the quick 2-for-1, and James draws the foul.
It is a blocking foul on Posey and a technical foul
on Ron Rothstein. He is irate right now. And that is a big call, not only for the foul, but for the technical, because this potentially could tie it up. Sean Corbin's had a twigger tonight. You got your best free throw shooter and Zydrunas Ilgauskas at the line for the technical. And here comes the question. You got LeBron James going back to the line. He missed his previous 2.
Well, Ilgauskas, a 79% free throw shooter.
Well, here's the play in question. LeBron looks to me like Ron Rothstein has every reason to be upset. James Posey in position. LeBron pushes off with that left arm. That's a charge. So Rothstein gets upset. But, gosh, I don't know about that. Technically, in this situation, you got to allow the coach to get upset.
I understand that, but Dwayne Wade just got the same call at the other end. I mean, it wasn't.
Who they'll play in the Eastern Finals.
Well, truthfully, Miami's rooting for Cleveland. They really want Cleveland. They don't want to see Detroit.
They already have an advantage of a few days to get ready, and they could play a team Sunday after a Game 6 on Friday. LeBron misses the spin, goes after it, and the crowd yelling for a foul, and a technical foul called against Flip Saunders. He thought that LeBron James pushed off, and Flip gets a tee.
And this is a loose ball. First to it, first gets it. Nice move by LeBron. Just threw it off the glass a little bit hard. The ball is kind of going out. Nice effort by Chauncey Billups, but I think where everyone reacted is because it happened right in front of the Pistons bench.
Daniel Marshall makes good on the technical free throw.
And these are loose balls. And when a 21-year-old knows the important value of getting every loose ball, he's fighting for it.
Pistons will inbound the ball. It is a 4-point lead. LeBron James, who has only hit one of his last 7 from the field.
Shot clock winding down. Jeffrey spinning. And Marshall the rebound. Stolen by Arenas.
Great steal.
Arenas inside. Can't get it to fall. Jeffries is fouled by Larry Hughes, and Eddie Jordan just got hit with a technical. He came running out on the floor. He's got to be careful. He'll be thrown out. Yes. Jordan came out and kicked the basketball and quickly was hit with a technical because he felt Arenas was fouled on his drive. Arenas was pretty calm, even though there was some contact. But Jordan came storming off the bench. His assistant coaches did a good job holding him back.
Yes, they did. Eddie's upset. Naturally, there's a lot of pressure on the coaching staff to get a W in this game, especially at home. Now here goes Arenas. Arenas is going to go strong to the rim right now. So you're going to see how he gets hit right there. But the left hand, he cleared the guy with his left hand. So that also forced the contact. Now, it depends upon how Tony Brothers, the referee, looked at that. All right, but there was definitely contact. But you could see Arenas protect himself with the left hand going out, and then the man coming across. Keep an eye on it. Now, the other angle is better than that. Now, Arenas is upset because he knows that he got hit. And Eddie Jordan, you could see, was inside the three-point line.
Marshall hits 1 of 2. There are 2 technical fouls. You know, I mentioned Arenas was calm, but he wasn't, obviously. I stand corrected on that. At first, he seemed like he was fine with it, but then you see him yelling at Tony Brothers. Brothers called the technical on Arenas and Jordan, who kicked the ball. So 2 technical fouls. And now it's Wizards ball in their front court. See Antonio Daniels also helping out Michael Koren, the assistant.
15 to 10. Lowhouse loses it. Manning has it. And the whistle back up court. Technical foul on Don Nelson. AF rush. He did not like Don Nelson's choice.
Well, Nelson had a legitimate gripe here. Lowhouse got raked across the arm, and there was no foul call.
It's one way to stop a fast break.
Problem though for Nelson is you got Brad Lowhouse trying to penetrate, which is off the dribble, which he can't do. So it's very difficult for him to make
any other U.S. league.
是磕在了 Rodman 的膝盖上。
The playoff image it projects is global, beyond the backyard battles in the heat of May.
I don't